Paul, this video is entitled Chefs Are Artists. Crypto Will Make Them Millionaires.
What?
We proceed.
Be epic, and I'm stopping it in and out. But I was just on the phone with my friend Kevin, and I was just scheming about what Gary Vee is doing
Which
for this
Kevin?
restaurant industry. Essentially, like, I don't know the details of it, but it's like a ticket that lives on the blockchain. It's an NFT for a reservation at this restaurant. Why is this such a game changer and so
Game
fascinating?
changer? Game changer?
This is like the game changer of the QR codes.
You know what this is? You know what this
Change the
is?
world, baby.
Hold on. Just hold on.
No, just wait.
Okay.
It's like every effing moron who thinks their startup is going to change the world. Your startup isn't changing the world. There have been like 4 companies ever that changed the world. Yours won't be it because you figured out a way to plow a driveway a little bit better than somebody else did. Sorry, because you created an app to do that. Sorry.
Hear him out. This is going to change the world, Paul. You're wrong.
I had to get this idea down because I think this is like such an interesting way that the entire food industry is going to change, and what chefs are is going to change. Because when you think about food industry and restaurants, like, oh, that's the worst industry to be in, the restaurant industry. Like, where do you want to lose all your money? The food business, like low margin.
No, listening to you is how I
hard.
lose
Like,
all
you're
my
never
money.
going to make any money. That's all about to change because of the blockchain. So
The blockchain. It's always back to the blockchain.
The whole food industry, Paul. Again, restaurants come and go. I mean, they're up. I mean, it's very hard to make any money in restaurants.
I bought a pair of jeans once from a friend of mine's now wife, and she's great. But I remember she worked for a startup, and they called themselves a technology business because they sold jeans, but it used technology to sell the jeans.
Let's keep going. This guy's on to something, Paul. I think you're wrong.
to happen is, and what Gary Vee is doing is like the first use case of this technology. This is why I think NFTs are so dope and fascinating, because to me, chefs are artists and food is
You know what's funny?
art that
I remember Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett describing American Express when they bought it as so dope and fascinating.
I do recall that video from the 70s.
consume
80s.
with all five senses. Like when you look at a painting, you're just looking at it. My food, I look at, I taste it, I smell it, I feel it with my mouth. Like, it's such an amazing
That's how I feel about
underappreciated
your
art
mom's
form, and
anus.
chefs are super underpaid.
I see it, I smell it, I touch it, I taste it.
That might have been the best line on Everything Money Ever.
Taste it.
Appreciate in our society, and I think this is so interesting. And the way the NFT ticket game is going to change this. You already have the Airbnb restaurant idea, which I've been hot on, like sort of like people cooking for you in their homes, celebrity chefs charging hundreds of thousands of dollars for meals. But the bigger piece of this is the NFT ticket for reservations, essentially creating liquidity and essentially a stock market for restaurant reservations.
Why the would you do that?
There's not enough demand. You have open table, and I can go get a
By
reservation.
the way,
anywhere I
why do you want ticket, your reservation, to be an NFT in the first place?
Not at elite restaurants. Hear him out.
It's at the chef's
If you're
house.
LeBron into the dopest sushi restaurant in Tokyo, and I just landed in my private jet in Tokyo. Wait, of course I'm not going to get a reservation. It's there for 6 months. But I bet out of that 6-seater sushi bar in Tokyo, shout out Seaspiracy. No, two of those people are down to sell their tickets to LeBron for $500K a pop. So all of a sudden, they just sold their ticket to LeBron for $500,000. He doesn't care.
Why are we watching
now
this
he gets to
video?
eat that sushi. He's down for the $500.
Why are we watching
Literally
this
had to do
video?
nothing.
Okay,
You've seen this?
This is a morning show. I talked about LeBron on the morning show.
Here it goes. Because NFTs, Paul, are the best thing ever.
This is dumber
This
than
is
Bitcoin.
This is a game changer.
This is dumber than Bitcoin.
This is dumber
You're
than
right.
Bitcoin.
Paul, if you land in Vegas and want to eat at a
By the
restaurant.
way, if I'm LeBron James landing my private jet, you know how I get a ticket at that restaurant?
I walk into the
I
restaurant.
call in and go, I'm LeBron James. Can I have a seat?
Wait, you're not going to pay $500,000?
I'd pay.
Hear him out, Paul. You're wrong.
$1,000 except reserve this restaurant, and all the rest are actually, you only made $450, because guess who made, and they can set the
Who
royalty
made
on this
it?
reservation. Guess who made 10%?
Who made
the
it?
restaurant made $50,000
Oh!
of that $500K because of their royalty and because of the way the smart
Yeah,
contract
and you know
works
this
for you.
dork that's sitting there with an NFT. He's not going to sell it for $50,000. He's going to be, LeBron bought my NFT. Here's $100.
By the way, at that super exclusive sushi restaurant, guess who's not getting a reservation there?
You?
This person.
This guy right here. And they're going to regulate it. They're going to be like, listen, look at Rolexes. When you buy a Rolex now, I went to a Rolex store in Dallas, brand new Rolex store. They're like, Paul, here are your Rolex options. Not many, which was surprising they even had any. Then they started to see my collection of watches. And you know what they said? Yeah, Paul, we got a good one in the back.
Yeah.
We got a good one in the back. You know why? Because they're not going to sell to some idiot off the street. They wanted to make sure I was legit first. They're not. Now this place is not going to start selling they're not going to start giving reservations to any moron in the world. They're going to be like, no, unless you're LeBron, we're not going to give you the reservation.
Paul,
Why?
a normal person like me can watch this video, nod along, and be like, boy, this guy's on to something. Let him.
Really?
Floating price transaction value, or a portion of that.
Floating price transaction value.
Which would be the restaurant. So, and eventually the chef. So all of a sudden,
Dear
my
Lord,
point
who
is,
I
is
love
the
so
restaurant-
much.
Can we report
Please
this kid
let
for
a
driving
meteor
and using
land
cell
on this
phone?
guy at In-N-Out right now. But please save In-N-Out. Thank you.
What was
which
that?
maybe charges a
Can we report this guy for driving and using his cell phone?
No, he's not driving. He's parked.
The Tesla's driving itself.
$1,000 a meal, the fanciest restaurant in the world, could all of a sudden be making $1 million a seat per meal if the right people want to eat there at the right
Easy
time.
peasy
All
lemon
that supply and
squeezy.
demand.
Yeah.
Because LeBron James flies in and goes,
Forget
I
about
want the sushi place. I'm going to spend $500,000. LeBron James, who, by the way, doesn't even pay for apps on his phone because he come on, give me a break.
I mean, forget about demand, Paul. This is happening. I mean,
Is it?
and this is just at one restaurant, Mo.
Is it happening?
Well, no, but
My point is,
Plus,
there's
you
a
just said it.
massive
It's just one
pent-up
restaurant.
wait. There's a massive pent up.
demand for people wanting to go to restaurants, for having a huge budget to do so, for people wanting to give up their reservation they don't even want anymore. And
Pause.
the restaurants getting
So, guys, here's the deal.
Massive demand.
My girlfriend loves nice restaurants. If my girlfriend ever said to me, Paul, I want you to pay $500,000 to get in this restaurant, not only would I murder her,
Oh, Paul, murder. I mean, what would you do then?
I would find somebody who's not as stupid. There's no way that's going to happen. I don't care if you're Bill Gates. You're not spending $500,000 to get into a restaurant. This is literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I hope this person gets
Informed correctly by you. Hey guys, Seth here jumping in real quick. We'll get right back to the video, but I want to let you know you can join our software. You can get access to this financial data and the new Everything Money chat right in your phone. Paul will tell you how to get it right now.
So guys, we created the software because our users wanted to be able to analyze their own stocks without having to wait for us. So we put hundreds of thousands of dollars, made the software. You get 30 years of financial data. You get access to Seth, Mo, and I, 8-pillar analysis, the stock analyzer tool, the retirement calculator, and you get everything on this main page that is coming soon. This is all included. And if you look right here, these are all the things you get. You get everything on a mobile phone. Everything we're talking about here is ready, available on your mobile app. One app for everything. But most importantly, guys, you get our Discord, our community of, now it's off of Discord. It's right in our app. You get a community of over 6,000 people you can talk to every single day about your investment ideas. If you're like them, you felt alone having these ideas about investing that weren't reciprocated by others, but now you found the community here. And this is all available for only $1 per day. Less than a cup of coffee. If this can make you 1 or 2% or save you 1 or 2% of losses every year, it will lead to hundreds of thousands, if not millions. $1 per day, 2 ways to sign up. Everythingmoney.com or Patreon. The benefit of everythingmoney.com is we're not large enough yet to charge sales tax, so you won't be charged sales tax quite yet. And look at this, guys. You get all of this. Our competitors are a lot more money and don't provide as much. $1 per day. Go sign up now.
There's no liquidity. There's no market. There's no.
Yes, you're right. There is no market for this because it's stupid.
And that's the key, Paul, is we get in this dangerous.
I get into the world of we can create a market for people for things. As Henry Ford said, if I just listened to consumers, I would be trying to build a faster stagecoach. I got it.
So I tried to make a reservation at Pier W. It's a place downtown. On the
You
water.
don't get it. It's Cleveland. We're talking about Tokyo.
Right.
We're talking about
But the point
sushi
is,
place. It's
so
Tokyo.
so it's booked out a month.
Okay.
I wasn't going around searching on Facebook and Twitter saying, hey, who has an open spot? I got to go next week. I'll pay you $100 extra or $50,000 extra. I'm just going to delay it. Go next month. This is the dumbest
the
thing.
asset that would be the
This is worse
reservation
than
until
Bitcoin.
we've had NFTs in the blockchain.
There was a 3-star Michelin restaurant that has a 6-month waiting list in California. We were right in front of it. Lisa wanted to go. I said, Lisa, let's go. But she had to call in a favor. And the friend later on said, I could have gotten you in 2 seconds.
Or
Who am I? I'm nobody. Who is she? She's nobody. It was literally like, I could have gotten you in 2 seconds with a 6-month reservation wait list.
but see, the key with all of this, Paul, is you need the blockchain.
Yeah.
Let's continue. We're
No,
almost
let's
done.
not
We're almost
continue.
done.
Influencer chefs.
Let's get to meet
who
Kevin. I
have
want to bash
big
this
online
guy.
presences and like create huge demand to go to them.
Oh my God.
People want to eat your
Oh
food.
my God. I
You
want
can
to
only
eat
cook
your,
for a
I want to
couple
eat your
people a
food.
night.
Hold on, Paul.
So supply and demand is going to make
Supply and
the
demand.
top chefs in the world be able to charge $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, $1 million a meal. They might not even want to
$1 million a meal. $1 million a meal.
Maybe. By the way, I'll say this. Maybe they can. But NFTs will have nothing to do with it. You know what it'll be? It'll be my website where I go, hey, do you want a meal with me? If I'm Gordon Ramsay, hey, guess what? Go to my website, reserve a meal for me. With me. It's $1 million. Give me $500,000 today, $500,000 upon showing up. Thank you. Oh, you say no? Fine.
And so if this is going to revolutionize the world,
you don't need an NFT.
How many times do you think that's going to happen in a year?
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need an NFT to do it. Guys, here's the thing. They're describing something that, so years ago, I went to a pitch for startups.
Yeah.
And this kid who's in medical school created this awesome thing for if you get low blood sugar and get dizzy and give yourself a really quick. I called my dad right then and then. My dad just heard this. He goes, Paul, that's a brilliant idea. The problem is a cookie works just as well. He was just like, listen, it is a brilliant idea, but what's more readily available, a cookie or this? And a cookie works just as well. So this guy's explaining something. NFT, yeah, you know what else works? A website, Squarespace, Shopify, done.
A phone call.
Why do you need NFTs and spend $1 million? Why do you need that? That doesn't even make sense to me. I can get behind the idea of saying, let's create a digital version of the Mona Lisa and say, I own the digital version of it. I can somewhat get behind that, saying, okay, but a reservation? I don't get it.
I guess this is the concept of creating something out of nothing that can be bought and sold that has potential quote unquote value.
Great.
Which we saw in the crash of the housing market is the whole thing that brought everything down is they were creating things that they were trading and making money on out of thin air.
Just because you created something new doesn't mean there'll be demand for it. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't, that something you created, just because there's no demand for it now, it won't happen. But just think about what I just said. Instead of an NFT, make a website. Instead of NFTs, open table. Instead of NFTs, why would LeBron James even pay $50,000 to get in a restaurant?
Why would he even pay any grand? He's LeBron James.
I'm LeBron James. If I was LeBron James, I walked in a restaurant and said, no, we're not going to serve you, but you can go buy that guy's tickets for $50,000. I'd be like, see ya.
Yeah, I wouldn't
even walk in the restaurant. I would be like, listen, call them right now and tell them who I am.
He's saying you can pay $1 million to sit at this restaurant. I'm thinking, well, how much does this restaurant cost just to buy outright by LeBron James? You know, it's just, it's an interesting concept.
I bet I can go rent a beautiful house in LA and say, Gordon Ramsay, come cook for me and my friends tonight. I'll give you $1 million and he's coming there.
Well, that's the point.
I don't have to do anything with an NFT or anything.
NFT does nothing with it. Okay, great. Sounds good.
For this episode, I know Paul comes off as harsh, and to you out there I
am harsh. I'm not coming off as harsh. I am harsh.
You might think that you've turned to YouTube to be better informed, well informed. You're doing research, and we're offering a lifeline to you, maybe saying, be careful. This is currently not how some of the most famous investors in the world got rich, chasing made up things and creating a demand that might not be there. So just be very cautious.
And by the way, watch what you say. Not the most famous investors, the best investors.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because there are famous people who have terrible processes, but they still invest. Jim Cramer is an absolute moron. He's not an investor. Kathy Wood's famous. She's a moron. It's about the best investors over decades and decades and decades and decades. And if you want to pick the 3 or 4 years where morons like this, what are those glasses, by the way?
Those are my glasses. How dare you?
Those aren't your glasses.
Those are not your glasses.
They're similar.
No, they're not.
In the end, Paul, you get deals pitched to you over the past 20 years. I've seen you make $12 million real estate deals like a flip of a switch. You have people working upstairs who are looking at deals all day long. How long do we need to continue with this concept?
What concept?
This guy. I mean, how long do you need to hear this? You were out within the first couple sentences.
The second I see some sort of intrinsic value to NFTs, I'm in. Just like tech stocks. I'm in on tech stocks now. But 20 years ago, I was like, this doesn't work. .coms. I never owned .coms. I owned some tech, but .coms didn't work. And I'm like, I don't get this. But now there are .coms that I'm sure they came out and just said, by the way, you notice how many websites even have the name .com in their when they go public?
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody does it anymore. And that was a big thing 20 years ago. Everything was just attach .com to it. It'll be worth a ton.
Final thumbs up. Join our community, and you can talk about this with other people all over the world. Click the link below, everythingmoney.com or patreon.com/everythingmoney, and you can discuss this, argue with Paul, connect with us, and see exclusive content we only give our users. That's our take. See you next video.